I wanted to talk about a work situation, or not really a work situation, but a leadership. I wouldn't even call it a situation, but a leadership example, a very good example. And as of this recording, if you are following the channel and you're watching the series on canceling out my job, you would know that I'm at the end. As of this recording, in my current with my current company, to take on a new opportunity. But along the way, this past week, our new CEO from the parent company. So my role has been CEO of the Americas, right? And we are our own entity, and we report up to a parent company, and he is responsible for all of us, right? He started with the company as an outsider in the fall. Prior to that, anyone who's had that position has been an insider. The founder, going back to the 1980s, then from the founder, who actually sold the company to a couple of, I should say 3 employees, so they were already obviously known, and they moved into senior leadership and owners. So again, no surprise when they took over and the founders left. And then even when the company got sold to a much larger company, the previous ownership left, and they promoted people within to become CEO. So it's nothing really to think about or worry about. It's just kind of like, oh yeah, we know who that is. We like working with them. And then, or maybe people didn't, but I think most did. And more recently, last year, the CEO, who had been with the company over a decade in a couple different roles, decided to leave and made a very emotional farewell goodbye. Super good man, great guy, just a guy that cares about people, etc. Right? So he left. So the cupboard was kind of bare for that position internally. And to make a long story short, so the company that owns our company decided to search outside, and they did, and they found somebody. And that person actually had some previous experience a couple jobs ago at the new owning company. I'm just trying to leave it vague for YouTube. And he came in, and because they're based in Europe, I was hearing from my European colleagues upset. Who is this guy? Like, oh my gosh. Yes, a lot of questions, and he's serious, and this and that and the other. But then you talk to some other people over there, and I really like him. He asks a lot of questions because he's not from the industry, and he's just trying to learn, and he's trying to understand why we do things the way we do, and then making a suggestion as an outside set of eyes, right? That's sometimes really, really good to have outside set of perspective. Example being, oh, we've always done things this way because we've just always done things this way, where you have an outside set of eyes. Say, well, why do you always do it that way? Is there something about this process you don't like that could be better? What would it be? So you have someone coming in asking that, or why are we doing this? Why are we spending money over here? Why? What's the result? And I think it's also a lot of times how you ask that why. If you ask that why more or less like you're questioning that person's existence, then people get defensive. But if you're asking it using a tone of, oh, how come? Why? Why do we do it this way? Tell me more. Can you explain this to me? So I had my first actual experience with him was on a basically like a board meeting, right? And I had to report some numbers. And the problem with being owned by another company is they set your numbers for you, whether they're realistic or not. Usually when you get acquired by another company, they set the numbers really high because you're an investment. They're looking for a quick ROI on what they spent on you, right? So we had some really ultra aggressive numbers that didn't align with what our ground up budget was, right? So on paper to them we were behind, right? So in this board meeting, I have to I'm meeting virtually the new CEO, and I'm presenting these numbers to him. I've been in many big meetings in my career, but I thought, how am I going to do this, right? So I think I talk about that in another video somewhere down the line, previous to this one, about kind of presenting and how to tell a story and whatever. So that ultimately went fine. So I had met him there virtually, and a couple other times virtually. Then I went over to Europe and got a chance to meet him a bit more, and more so in a group setting, not really one-to-one too much, but liked him. He was very friendly. And I came back to my group here and said, I like him. And they're like, oh, that's a relief, because we hear all these things like, oh, I don't know about this guy or whatever. So with the news of me leaving the company, and actually regardless of that, he decided to come to the U.S. to visit because he had never met anyone other than me. And it's the right thing to do, regardless if I was leaving or not. Timing was really good because I'm leaving, and there's a little unease about it because people don't know who's going to be the next person in charge in the U.S. So let me just say, so I built an agenda for him. He was going to spend a few days in the office, a couple days out in the field with some of our key guys, seeing some key customers. Let me just say, one of my key kind of ingredients, if you will, to a really good leader is the ability to connect with people in the organization at all levels. Let's just say he hit a home run. After just about every meeting, people would stop by my office and say, I really like him. Oh, he asked me this. No one's asked me that before. That made me feel really good. For example, one of the questions he asked one of people on the management team that report to me is, hey, you can tell me about what you do later, but I want to understand what drives you. Like, what motivates you? Could you tell me about yourself? And this person said to me, I never had anyone here seem more interested about me than actually what I'm doing. And that made me feel good. He, on one of the days, the first day when we gave him a tour, we have a lab, and there was an employee just putting labels on some equipment. And he went in there very friendly. So what is it that you do here? Oh, I work in a lab. I do this, and that. And so what is it you're doing right here? And he would joke. He would say, the only reason I'm asking all these questions is because I'm new with the company, and I'm just trying to figure out how things work around here. So like right away, the people's guards go down. And she explained, I have to label these sensors that we get shipped to us because there's no way of telling them apart with the serial number. And he said, well, why doesn't the manufacturer just like print them on there or do that for you? It's a great question. And he goes, where do you get these sensors? And we actually say, we get them from you guys, the parent company. And he just scratches his head and he goes, well, I need to have a conversation with our production people when we go back because that is inefficient. How long does it take you to do a batch, whatever the batch was that she had in front of her? And, she said, so he goes, oh, how often do you have to do this? And so, just some quick math. And I'm like, wow, we could really help you. And she was just like blown away that he took the time to care and just with a few questions potentially made her job easier. So we had example after example after example like this. It was also interesting, and this is probably a topic for another video, of what he didn't know. So for example, there's a layer between really me and him, and a lot of the stuff, key, important, critical information, I report to the layer above me, and usually with the feedback of, let's talk to the big boss. They will talk to the big boss and get back to you with what we want to proceed on. And yes, I know I'm leaving this vague intentionally. And so when I went to like kind of close the loop on some things that we hadn't heard anything on, he had no idea what I was talking about. So inadvertently, I think I might have thrown someone under the bus for not being transparent, which was very eye-opening, and it happened to a few of my management team members on my management team that report to me in their one-on-ones. So let's just say when we had our wrap-up meeting after 2 days in the office, he had nothing but great things to say. No, we're not perfect. No, we're not perfect. But he said the enthusiasm, people genuinely like what they do, and they care about it. They care about each other, and I think we help you out and get some processes fixed and some things aligned and some tweak the strategy. You guys are going to be doing some serious growing, because you guys have the people, the right people, and usually I've been in these wrap-up meetings with senior management from Europe, and they usually lead off with like the positive, and then it's like, however, or but, there was none of that, none of that. It was just amazing, and one of the cool things that we keep repeating after he left, and we always felt this way. So sometimes leadership over there intervenes with our operations, but then they'll say, okay, you guys decide what you want to do. You run things in the U.S., and they'll say, no, but do it this way. Very contradictory. What was awesome is he made the statement to us in the wrap-up meeting. I don't run North America, nor does the name of the individual, that's the in-between guy, nor does he. You guys do. You make the decision. We may ask some clarification questions or make sure you did due diligence on whatever you're working on, but you run it. And I think one person in a meeting went, yes, that's what we wanted to hear. Like, that's how So it was just really, really cool. And then he spent a couple days out in the field with some of the key guys on the team. And he wanted me to put something on the calendar for the management team just while he was out in the field, just based on some information he got about one of the accounts. And he goes, hey, I just want to say I'm having an excellent time out in the field. Great job. And he summarized some of the meetings. And he's like, excellent. And he goes, I just have a recommendation. He's like, he said this. He goes, you guys are the management team. You guys decide how you want to handle this. He goes, but I have a recommendation. This is what I'm thinking. How do you guys feel about that? Awesome. I mean, again, this guy is awesome. I'm actually a little sad that I'm not going to be working with him because I'm leaving the company. But what I do feel great about is the peers I leave behind are going to be okay. They're going to be fine. They're going to grow and be successful with this guy leading the charge. And then the last thing to kind of get towards the end of this video is he sent an email. So I'll just keep it vague. I have about 50 people I'm responsible for here in the States. And today's Sunday? On Saturday, he sent an email. His flight back was Saturday, so he probably had some time in the airport as he's working his way back. He sent an email out to the entire U.S. organization thanking us for his visit and just putting us over how positive his visit was. And he copied the in-between guy, so the guy that reports to him and then we report to. Again, I'm leaving it vague intentionally because he might be in a little hot water based on this week. And copied him, and he was just saying how positive it was. He's really thinks we have a bright future, et cetera, et cetera. So it just put a big smile on my face to know my colleagues, the company that I bled for 8 years, is going to have a bright future, and this guy is leading it. Really cool. Oh, and going back to that email, he didn't take the easy way with the email. We have an email distribution list, like for basically the U.S., right? It's like U.S. employees at xyzcompany.com. He actually typed out every single email, every name of everybody. I mean, like, he's a CEO of a fairly decent sized company, and he took the time to do that. The employees are going to run through walls for this guy because of what he's building. They only spent a few days this last week together, but already the support and, I don't want to say love, but like the passion is there. So the point I wanted to make about leadership is, and it's really ironic because before he came, I think it was the week before, I had a call with a global HR lady who was asking me about the qualities of my replacement. What should those top qualities be? And one of the top qualities, I said, the ability to connect with people, the ability to connect at all levels, and to have some type of relationship with each employee, whether it's the shipping clerk, the sales manager, the VP. You have to be able to connect at all those different levels, so you have buy-in in what you're doing. And I think the other part of it is trust, as well as things aren't going to be perfect all the time, right? Maybe somebody on the operations team made a colossal mistake. You can pick up the phone and go to this guy and say, hey, we tried a new process or a new whatever, and it blew up on us. I want to make you aware. Here's what we're doing to correct it. That's the type of leader you want in the organization, because things won't be hidden from him, because he'll have your back and say, all right, awesome that you tried to do something different to make the job easier or more efficient, but okay, mistakes happen. What did we learn from it? How do we fix it, move on? Let's work together. Awesome. So for all you people who are watching and are either looking to become a leader in some capacity, or are a leader, maybe you're early in your journey, think about that. Think about how you connect with people. I gotta say, and I talked about it in a video a while ago, I'm an introvert by nature. To be able to connect with people, you have to kind of break out of that a little bit. I'm not saying you have to be in the center of a social hour all the time and telling stories and get in the middle of a campfire, but what I'm saying is you have to get out of your office or get out of your virtual comfort zone and make FaceTime with individuals, whether it's virtual or in real life, so they feel comfortable around you. And actually, if you're an introvert, having the one-to-one conversations is actually, to me, as an introvert, easier than having like a room full of people. And truly, in a room full of people, it's a one-way. Like, people might be able to get to know you because you're the one talking to the room, but you don't have a chance to get to know them. And how can you get to know them if they're not speaking to you, and telling you about themselves and whatnot? So again, for people who are looking to get into leadership, or just kind of starting the journey, because I didn't realize this right away when I started as a manager a long time ago, but I have realized this in recent years, and to witness it the way he did it was like a thing of beauty. It was like an art. It was like artwork, what he did this week. And I'm always looking to get better as a leader myself. And I certainly was taking notes on how his approach was, because I am definitely not so insecure or whatever, have ego, that I don't think I can improve as a leader. I always try to get better because of the people around me, and I think that's an important part too. And maybe that's another video. Get all these video ideas. So let me know what you think in the comments. Maybe share some of your experiences and how this has worked for you, or maybe how like the lack of connecting with people has hurt you. And I could certainly tell you stories of where I haven't built super connections with people, and then I find out information a different way than the person just reaching out to me because they don't know me, or they feel they don't know me and they want to go to somebody else and have that person tell me. That's not good, right? So those are things for me to work on, or had worked on. And then lastly, again, I probably keep saying lastly, finally, eventually, the other part of it is maybe you don't want to become a leader, but maybe you want to work in an organization that, like, in your mind has good leadership. So you got to ask yourself, what is good leadership? And if you have whether it's the CEO, your manager, a VP, a director, whatever, if they have the ability to connect with you on a personal level, like, they don't need to know what your favorite food is, but like, just kind of know how you think, know what's important to you, know what motivates you, know what challenges you, know what you enjoy doing, know what you're good at, know where you need help. That is the person you should look to work for. Or maybe you're interviewing with a company and that's kind of something to think about, right? Ask questions about their leadership. What kind of leaders are here? How close does leadership get with the employees, right? All right, so let me know in the comments. Share your experiences, because I always enjoy the discussion. What's worked for you, what hasn't worked for you. Be sure to like and please subscribe. I really appreciate that. And certainly, if anyone has any questions on topics or want me to clarify something, please let me know. And we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.